Hey guys, and welcome back to TFV. Welcome to everybody in the live premiere and chat. Welcome to everybody that's watching this on a replay. So nice to have you guys here. Today we're doing berry creams. So any berry element, any cream element. We thought we'll mix it up a little bit in this banger show. Guys, I hope you enjoy. I'm going to be kicking off with the mixer I haven't mixed up before. Their name is Evelyn. Evelyn has got a hashtag 5 Dreamberry cream. And what this is, it is a raspberry and strawberry cream, right? It has a little bit of blackberry in it as well. So let's quickly look at the description here. You could call this my strawberry and cream recipe, but I think it's a little bit more than that. Clearly inspired by Fizzmaster's mustard milk. Good as a shake and vape, better after a week's deep time. Any comments, suggestions, and additions are highly appreciated. Have fun. Yeah, dude, sweet. Saw this, thought looks cool, gonna mix it up. What interested me here was the caramel. Not sure why this hasn't been a thought of mine, so I'm intrigued with it. But so the cream layer, let's dive into the cream layer over here. So we've got cream fresh 0.5, and then we've got TFA vanilla bean ice cream in here at 5%, right? And then we've got caramel at 1%. Alright, so it's like a ice cream with sort of like caramel over it. Okay, then it's got a little bit of cream fresh in the middle of it. That's the cream layer. Let's talk about the berries. So we've got 0.75 blackcurrant FA, lovely blackcurrant. That's quite high for this blackcurrant. Then we've got raspberry sweet at 2.5%. Very cool. And then we've got strawberry TFA at 4% and 1.5% of TFA strawberry ripe. Okay, so I vaped this, and yeah, so the first impression was I really like the cream layer over here. I think the addition of the cream fresh doesn't really read on the palate like a cream layer in the middle of the mix, so maybe simplifying it here and looking at just the vanilla bean ice cream or another ice cream in here, I think that is enough, right? With that slight tinge of caramel. I think that cream layer is brilliant. I think keep it simple. I think remove the cream fresh. It's not really that necessary, or just keep the cream fresh there. Those two creams aren't necessary. I think for that reason, because you've got cream fresh in there, because you've got vanilla bean ice cream in there, and a little bit of blackcurrant, you have to go a little bit harder here with the berries. And this is what happened. So Evelyn went in with 0.75 blackcurrant. I think if that's just an accent, right, maybe dropping it to about 0.35. And then, because you've already got TFA strawberry in here that's got a bit of an earthy note in here, plus that blackcurrant over there that's quite earthy, I think those two together, you risk a little bit of an earthy taste in here. Not bad. Then we've got the strawberry ripe at 1.5%. All in all, love the cream layer, beautiful combination. Gonna be thinking about this going forward. Very nicely done. Very cool idea. Okay, I just wanted to taste cream fresh in a recipe again, and yeah, I couldn't taste it over here. We used to mix that with everything. Now don't barely even touch it anymore. I'm on my second bottle of 30ml bottle of that cream fresh, and in the last year I probably used about maybe 5ml of that cream fresh. Anyway, there's just so many other creams around now. Maybe even looking at FLV cream here in this application, it might start reading as a cream layer. Who knows, right? Maybe check that out if you can, Evelyn. Then the blackcurrant, the raspberry sweet, the strawberry, and the strawberry ripe together. Okay, on the shake and vape, unfortunately I'm detecting a little bit of soapiness, but I am using a 22mm RDA, a Citadel, so it might be because it really reads those top notes super clear. I'm reading a little bit of a soapy vibe, so you can potentially drop some of that stuff down for the newer generation stuff. I'm not sure how old this recipe is, but all in all, thank you so much, Evelyn, for putting this recipe out. I'm going to give this a straight up boom for a good attempt at a something a little bit more complicated. You know, you've got an ice cream layer, you've got caramel in there, you've got creme fraiche in there. You know, not your everyday mix. Thank you so much, Evelyn. Thoroughly enjoyed mixing this up, and I'm giving you a fist bump for that. Cheers.
For my two berry creams, I decided to go old school and do blueberry creams, specifically FW blueberry creams. So I started off with 2 tools, blueberry custard and cream. Now this is very much an old school recipe, as we'll see from the ingredients. It's 6% Flavor West blueberry, 1% FA creme fraiche, 1% FA meringue, 1.5% of TFA vanilla bean ice cream, 2.5% cap vanilla custard, and 1% FA Vienna cream. Now if you don't have one or more of those flavors, then you really need to go back to commercial juice, because DIY is not for you. Those flavors are as staple can be. So to start off with, technically this is not really a berry cream, it's a berry custard and cream, and this is probably for me the most remarkable thing about this recipe. Anybody who's a dessert maven knows that a dessert with custard is one thing, a dessert with cream is another thing, a dessert with custard and cream is where it's at. I mean, if I go to a buffet and there's like fruit and pies and whatever, and there's custard and there's cream, both of those are going on top of the dessert. There's just nothing that beats that custard cream combo. Now I haven't really been able to find that in a vape, but this recipe changes that. It nails that combination of the thick, the mouthfeel, the somewhat fatty dairy note of the cream, with that eggy, vanilla rich custard. And those two elements are in perfect balance to give you the essence of both cream and custard. Then on top of that, you've got that top note of 6% Flavor West blueberry. Now for me, Flavor West blueberry is probably the best, if not one of the best blueberries, but it's very prominent. It has that very trademark character of a very bright berry initially that turns somewhat tart and sour. On the exhale, it's almost like a sort of chemical sourness, very distinctive taste. You can taste it in any recipe, and it's a flavor that I like, but not really when it's in your face. For me, it needs to be layered in properly. Now you think at 6% Flavor West blueberry that it would be very prominent in this recipe, but it's not really. The creams and the custards pull it back, and what you're left with is a mixture of custard and cream that just has a tinge, a purple tinge of blueberry to it. The recipe has the most amazing exhale to it. What happens at the start of the exhale, you get a wonderful blend of bright blueberry, not up front, but there, mixed perfectly with that sweet, thick, velvety, rich cream and custard flavor. As the exhale continues, the blueberry sort of fades, and the custard and the cream take over, and then right at the end of the exhale, that blueberry just comes back, just a touch of it at the end of the exhale, and that's the part that stays with you. So it's a very layered, very complex exhale. It's a very delicious juice. The texture is bang on, and what I like about it as well is that it mixes subtlety with boldness. Now normally you'd expect the blueberry to be bold and the cream and custard to be fairly subtle. With this, it's the other way around. The blueberry comes across quite subtle, but that cream and custard mix takes no prisoners. It's thick, it's velvety, it's dense, got that vanilla note, it's got that dairy note in it, that slightly fatty mouthfeel of cream. So that base hits really hard and does everything that I want from a cream and custard base. And the subtlety actually comes in the top note of that FW blueberry, which just adds that lovely magenta tinge to everything. So this mix, it hangs together in the best possible way for me. Texturally it's on point, flavor's on point, sweetness is on point. It doesn't need sweetness, it's fine as it is. Mouthfeel is on point. It does exactly what the name says. It mixes a custard and a cream with blueberry. All three are present and accounted for. And I can't actually think of any way that this recipe could be improved. I'm so glad I tried this recipe. It's one of Tutor's older ones, and it's one of his more popular ones with 9 ratings, almost all of which were 5-star, I think. So yeah, it's a classic DIY recipe, and it is for a reason, because it succeeds on every level for me. So for that, this blueberry custard and cream by Tutor gets the full banger from me. Thanks, Tutor.
Okay guys, the final recipe that I mixed up for the berry cream show of bangers is this one. Also another mixer I haven't really seen before or mixed up before. Maybe you guys have, but check it out. It's velvet berry ice cream. That just thought immediately, hey, that's something that I'd be into. Velvet berry. Sounds cool, right? So let's look at the description here. Oh my, this mix was, for lack of better words, a happy accident. You don't know what velvety is until you taste this after 10 days steep. I know this seems super simple. Well, it is. Okay, I can't read that little bit now. Let me wait. Well, it is, but my goodness, is it good? Base just started with a really simple base. Supporting notes, the strawberry ripe put in at 2% to really brighten up the blackberry, but turns out it just sweetened the blackberry and gave it a much more complex flavor. Fuji apple is there because it's awesome. Enough said. Boom. Boom, boom. Okay. What is happening here? Here we go. So, we've got 0.255% apple Fuji. We've got 0.5% FA Bilberry, 2% FA Blackberry, 2% Tefe Strawberry Ripe, 4% Vanilla Bean Ice Cream, 0.5% Cap Vanilla Custard. Yeah, something I haven't mixed up before, CGM, so I'm trying it out now. Bush, dude. Let's see how it goes. Yeah, I dig this. I dig this because, it's actually quite low in percentage. It's under 10%. I'm putting it in my Citadel, and, I'm getting that impression that I could vape this throughout the day. It doesn't have that super in-your-face flavor vibe that some of the stuff nowadays has. And yeah, so this is definitely something that you could vape all day. If you're liking, like a blackberry and a bullberry sort of more complex berry mixed or mixed berry, this is a really good one to have a look at. I think the balance of the berries is really giving you something exotic and new, and the apple Fuji is sweetening everything up slightly, but just enough for this recipe. The cream in here is genius, okay? It is so velvety, and it supports that berry so well. So yeah, vanilla bean ice cream, vanilla custard. Old school, my dude. Old school, but such a winner. Yeah, I enjoy this, dude. This is great. I like this, CGM, whoever you are. Well done, dude. This is the tip of the banger for sure. I would mix this up any day. I would vape this any day. This is delicious. This is just like an easy recipe to vape. Cool. Thank you so much, CGM. And yeah, dude, put out some more mixes. Let me know what you think about the review. Guys, mix this up. Let me know what you guys think. Velvet is here. Well done, CGM. Cheers.
For my second blueberry cream, I went a little bit off the beaten track and tried a recipe that caught my eye from ATF user Moggle33. The recipe is honey blue blue, and Moggle33 describes it as or describes the evolution of the recipe as really enjoying a honey blueberry commercial juice when he started vaping and wanting to recreate that, and believing that he's found that in the mixture of Flavor West blueberry and Flavora milk and honey. So let's just break down the recipe quickly. It's 5% FW blueberry, 2.5% TFA cheesecake graham crust, 1% Flavora cream, 0.5% FA cream fresh, 1.5% of Flavora milk and honey, 0.5% of Inawera shisha vanilla, 3% of TFA vanilla bean ice cream, and 0.5% of Cap super sweet to sweet. Now my first take on reading the recipe was that Flavora milk and honey and FW blueberry aren't really going to pair very well, in my view. I think Flavora milk and honey is one of these Rorschach test type flavors where different people get different things from it. Some people get a distinct chocolate note from it. For some people it's what it says on the tin, milk and honey. I get a sort of dark sweetness from it. It's almost like a caramel, but without that Maillard effect, of the burnt sugar. So for me, it's a dark sweetener that is very suited to bakeries, and I just didn't see it playing well with that very prominent chemical note of Flavor West blueberry. Then the other thing is that there are a lot of creams in here. There's 7.5% of creams, and then the Flavora milk and honey and the FW blueberry on top of that. So I was a little bit worried that that blueberry was going to battle to punch through all those creams. And both of my initial takes turned out to be somewhat right. What I get from this is texturally a wonderful vape. It's thick, it's velvety, it's creamy, the sweetness is on point, the mouthfeel is all there. It's got that wonderful creamy texture where it's not wet and it's not dry, it's just that velvety, creamy feel to it. So texturally it ticks all the boxes. What is happening for me is that the Flavora milk and honey is almost the top note. It comes through as that dark sweetness, a brown sugar, almost like a caramel type top note. The blueberry really battles to stand out for me. I mean, it's there, but what the balance does for me is that it's more like almost like a caramel cream that's got an accent of blueberry changing it. Whereas I would think for a honey blueberry, you're looking for a vivid blueberry note that's just being modified a little bit by a honey accent. This is kind of flipped. It's the milk and honey note that's being modified slightly by that blueberry accent. As I suspected, for my palate, that blueberry and milk and honey just don't really go together. I mean, blueberry is pure on fruit. That milk and honey is, for me, it's a bakery additive. It's a dark sweetener for bakeries. And the two, I won't say that they clash, because they're not unpleasant together, but rather like the mango cola that I tested a couple of weeks back. It just, the two flavor profiles don't really gel that well for me. I've vaped this for quite an extended period, and at times I thought, yeah, okay, this is working quite pleasantly, and then I'd have a few more vapes and I'd think, no, it's not quite there for me. It's certainly an intriguing blend. To have that milk and honey accented by the blueberry is unusual. It's something that I haven't really tasted in a vape before, so certainly in terms of innovation and novelty, this gets a good score. As I said, texturally wonderful. It's a nice, thick, smooth, mouthfeel, velvety cream. It's just that balance of the flavors between the blueberry and the milk and honey that just isn't quite doing it for me. I'm intrigued by the idea of a honey and blueberry mix, but I think for the honey, I'd probably go something a bit more conventional, like the FA honey, which to me is a lot closer to an actual, that sort of blonde straw-like honey than Flavora milk and honey is, which is quite a bit darker for me. So yeah, it's a profile with potential. Probably not quite getting there for me. I'd maybe sub out the Flavora milk and honey for something else. Also maybe pull the creams back a little bit just so that blueberry punches through a bit stronger, and then maybe try and accent the blueberry with the honey in a different way. Um, have a lighter touch with the honey and maybe go for a lighter coloured honey like the FA honey. But that's just my palate. This recipe has received several very favourable reviews, so it seems like it is hitting the right spot with some people. So by all means, the fact that it's not quite there for my palate doesn't mean it won't be there for yours. If you have the flavours, maybe mix this up. It's a different take on a blueberry cream, and it might just be a winner for your palate. So um, even though this doesn't quite hit the spot for me, I'll give this a fist pump for originality and for trying something new. So thank you for that, Moggle33.
Okay, guys, this brings us to the end of the show. Thank you so much for everybody that's always tunes in and, it just keeps us encouraged over here. We really appreciate it. Everybody in chat, hope you guys have a cool day. Everybody that's watching this on replay, put down some comments. Let us know what you think, what topics we should mix up next. Another thing, guys, please check out my channel. You'll see the supported channels in there. Go and subscribe to those channels. Remember to like and subscribe to this channel as well if you're enjoying the content. And finally, guys, if you want to check out some of the coolest mixes and the coolest content being posted, come and join us on Mixologist on Facebook. Very cool flavor group, strictly flavor group. Everybody talks and helps. Very cool community. I'd like to see you guys there. Go and join. Otherwise, guys, enjoy your day. Cheerio. Bye. Bye.